he looks at me and says, "Hey, don't forget to enjoy, huh?"
What patterns have you noticed in people who grow sustainably versus those who burn out?
One of the biggest challenges in our generation is the inability to commit to anything long term. Unfortunately, we live in a culture of immediate gratification, all of us, myself included, meaning it touches everyone. And that's the fight that we have to fight every single day. And right now, we are having problems of quick fixes. Quick fixes with SSRI medication for depression and anxiety, quick fixes for relationship through porn and situationships, systems for replacing relationship, quick fixes for health, lose 15 kilos in 2 months, or Ozempics, quick fixes with a bunch of things.
Do you think it's possible to be both deeply ambitious and deeply mindful?
Can connect it with the lesson of Bhagavad Gita. Desire is not the problem. Selfish desire is.
How do you personally catch yourself when stress or ego creeps in for you?
When stress and ego creeps in, it creeps in often, and there's a few things that help me.
So you have seen so many transformations. Is there any one story that still gives you goosebumps?
He was going through stage 4 cancer. He wrote to me that, hey, after your summit, the things that I learned, I practiced them, and I'm cancer-free, and now I'm helping other people.
How intentionally you put everything into the experience, whether it's starting the event or during the event or post the event?
This is the starting point. And then where do we want them to leave with? That's the end point. And then we map the journey from that emotion, how first phase is to establish psychological safety. They should feel good. They should find comfort and joy in the company of the strangers that they've come through.
If someone is listening right now who feels stuck, maybe they have done everything right but still feel lost, what is one small step they can take today?
The thing that I would recommend you profoundly to every single man that listens to this.
Welcome to the Vikas Agrawal Show, where we bring creators, experts, and entrepreneurs out there who share their real life experiences and success secrets with you. Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. Today's guest is someone who is redefining what personal growth can look like, making it playful, soulful, and deeply transformational. He has spoken on stages like Mind Valley, UNESCO, Microsoft, and BNI. His first TEDx talk on turning learning into a personal growth adventure has crossed over 7 million views. He blends Buddhist mindfulness, subconscious reprogramming, and social psychology to help people create powerful personal breakthroughs. And he has coached Emmy-winning writers, New York Times bestselling authors, and 9-figure CEOs. He is also the founder of Soulpresso, a school for entrepreneurs to master relationships and spiritual leadership. And what makes this conversation special for me is that I had the chance to work with him personally on a project called Personal Mastery Summit, where a team supported him end-to-end from setup to marketing. And watching how much intention and heart he puts into every single detail was truly inspiring. So welcome Gautam to the show.
Thank you, Vikas. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to see you grow, and it's a pleasure to grow with you. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Gautam, for taking out time off your busy schedule to be here. You often keep traveling. So where are you coming from right now?
I'm coming from Spain. That's where I live. That's my home, Barcelona.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And right now you are in India, I think, for a few days, right?
Yeah, I'm here for about 2.5 weeks. We're running a transformational summit in Goa for particularly entrepreneurs and people interested in transformational leadership. So it's a 3-day event we're running, a bunch of meetings, family responsibilities, and then go back.
Oh, that's amazing. Looking forward to be part of the summit together with you.
Let's do it.
By the time we release this episode, I think it will be already, summit will be over.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope so.
So you, before the stages of Mind Valley, BNI, and TEDx, who was Gautam as a person?
I was a loyal friend, very rebellious at heart, always finding my way to arrive at the place of play in wherever I was, whether it's studying or coming back home. There was always a sense of joy, laughter, play. There was always very loyal friendships. There was always deep, loving relationships. And I just happened to be in an environment that was very committed to spiritual practices, personal growth, living with integrity. And I've just been touched by it. So I have a little bit of essence of that comes from my family values. I would say like a super rebellious kid, loyal friend, deeply like a lover at heart, and looking for ways to play with people around me all the time.
Oh, that's amazing. But then what was the shift that you got into this personal growth space and you committed your life completely to it?
I think there was no shift. It's just the ultimate play that there is. That's what I realized once, and then again and again and again, that the only thing one can pursue in this life is a pursuit of self evolution, and that's the only gift we can give to every single person that's around us. The more I did that, the more I committed to this pursuit of personal growth, the more I realized I'm of value to the people around me, particularly the people that are closest to me. They were benefiting from the actual growth itself, and not just the pursuit of growth in terms of knowledge, but the difference between knowledge and growth. There's a difference. You receive knowledge, and then one tends to straight away start sharing that knowledge with other people. Hey, you got to try this, you got to try this, and it doesn't work. But once someone takes that knowledge, applies it, stays committed to it, which is a bit hard, takes a lot of time, a lot of trial and error, and that results over time into growth. And when one arrives there is when people start coming up to you and saying, hey, what changed? And from that place, people are open to whatever you want to give them. And so I think there was no shift with like the way I grew up. I think I was very ripe for it. I think there was a lot of blessings that were given to me. There was psychological safety, loving parents, decent education, as best as I could, as my parents could arrange it for me. So the ecosystem was stable. And then once the basic needs are met, only then one can even consider walking the path of personal growth. So I think a lot of the credit is to karma and my parents to ensure that my basic needs are met, so that I had the privilege of working on personal growth. So once someone's basic needs are met, I think everybody gets an opportunity and a calling to improve themselves through their body, through their mind, through their career growth, aspirations. And so I think there was no shift. It just, for me, it felt like a natural evolution.
That's amazing. That reminds me of Maslow hierarchy of needs, that you can go into this personal growth space only when you have the basic needs completed.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to. Actually, that's a good frame to look at for a lot of different things. Right, once the aspect of personal growth, or like the layer of self-esteem and achievement stays there. It's like first is your basic needs, and then there's your psychological safe basic need, food, water, shelter, what have you, right? And then there's psychological needs, then there's relational needs, belonging, and then comes your self-esteem, and then comes self-actualization. Right now, the privilege that I have of playing in is to work with people who are in the pursuit of the top level of the pyramid, which is of self-esteem, self-improvement, and self-actualization, actualizing what I'm here to do spiritually. So that's it's a very good frame for a lot of things we do in life.
And a lot of people don't talk about it. They just talk about the materialistic success or these things. They don't talk about spirituality. So what's your take on it? Where does this people get to know about spirituality? What is the trigger, or where they can go to get this trigger?
I think there is a point that people arrive at after going through certain cycles of material achievement, material success, what have you, where there does come a point where people ask, is that it? Is that all? And when that happened, that inquiry, that question, that seed is inside every single person. So the people that you may be referring to, that they're only chasing material success, that longing hasn't come yet. It's either that, or they're in that cycle, or this is doubly toxic. That longing comes and then you ignore it. And then you ignore it, then you push it aside, and just keep on going into that cycle because you've built that habit. That's where difficulties happen. That's where, because the longing is calling you, and it start manifesting in discomfort. And then people try to numb that discomfort. Sometimes that discomfort is in nervousness or anxiety or crisis of purpose. And numbing happens through all the kind of ways we can get a quick, cheap dopamine. Alcohol, scrolling, drugs, sex, porn, the whole 9 yards, food, sugar, all of those things, right? So the longing emerges in every single person, and I think it comes when once we've gone through that cycle, which is a necessary part of the process. You must go through achievement, self-esteem, while meeting all your other needs. Your relational being, your sense of psychological safety is there, your basic needs are met, you have love and connection, and then you've done some achievement, and you're going in that cycle. Only from that place one can view what more. And particularly people who have gone through the cycle, it's also privilege of very, very few people who go through such, life with such ease that they're pursuing personal growth, pursuing material success, able to pursue personal success and achievement. And then there comes a question that, okay, it's a really rare privilege. I could have been born in a not able body, didn't have able mind, or if I had been born in a wrong country, I wouldn't have all these things. And I was given to that on day one of my life. Meaning I didn't achieve those things myself. They were given to me on day one. And people have that realization. And the moment you have that, the only thing one can do, the moment it lands deep on your heart, is like, I didn't know what I deserved to get it, but I received it. The best thing I can do is to pay it forward. And that paying it forward happens through the work in your community, the work in your families, the work that you do out there in the world. It doesn't matter what work you do, it's the spirit with which you do that work that's important. The spirit from which you do that work changes, because the spirit with which that happens, you could be running a manufacturing company, but you're still working with people. The spirit with which you will work is the way you will treat people, the way you will see your work with respect that it's creating a livelihood of 10, 20, 100, few hundred people. And then you'll treat that with respect, and that becomes your spiritual practice. Then the only game there is a spiritual practice. Whatever you do it from the spirit of generosity, kindness, giving back. Because I've just been given so many things I don't understand. I didn't achieve anything in this life that were just given to me. There's many things that I did that I achieved. I worked hard. I stayed committed to a path for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. But there were many things that were just given to me. And once I recognized that, then I paid forward. And so everybody has that step along their path. And the Indian spiritual guidance is that you can arrive at that place in this life or next life or 10 lives later. It doesn't matter. The spirit doesn't care. Time doesn't exist for it. So everybody's on their path, and whenever the time is right, it will open up for you. And once it opens up, it doesn't close down, even if you try it.
That's amazing. And thank you for sharing in so much detail. So I had a question about, you often say that learning should feel like an adventure. So where does that mindset come from?
I think there came a point where I realized that the more I learn, the more beauty I will have in my life, the more things I will achieve. There came a point where I wanted to grow further in certain ways, and I realized that learning was the obstacle. And that I couldn't. It's like I started reading books very late in my life outside my curriculum. I would read one page, I'll fall asleep. It was very hard for me, and I realized that the more I can find joy in the thing that is the most meaningful that a human being should have in their life, that's the best way to add value to their life. If I can make learning whatever you need to learn to get to where you want to be, if I can make that fun and enjoyable, why would you ever stop? Then the pursuit becomes the goal in and of itself. Then the connection to learning, pursuing, going through that phase where you feel like, I don't know what to do and I have to absorb more things and it's getting challenging in my head, that if that process can become fun and meaningful, that's the best game there is. And I had to figure that out for myself. And I did that with whether I was for most of my life, I was not fit, let's say, and I committed to transforming my body within 1 year. I had to figure out how to make that process fun. It's not fun when you're starving your body of calories. I had to learn Spanish this year. I had to figure out how to make that process fun. I had to work on letting go of a lot of the extra charge that everybody accumulates in this life as they grow through. I had to learn to shed that baggage out, and I had to figure out how to make that process fun, or how to find fun in that. And so, yeah.
That's amazing, because actually what happens is a lot of people don't get into personal growth space or get away from these things because it becomes boring at a point in time. And what I, after learning from you and being with you, I've understood that you make everything fun out there. And then when it becomes fun, it's easier to keep going with it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it becomes so boring that you want to leave it. As you said, when you start reading self-help books, you just read a page and then you feel like, no, you can't read it anymore because it's become so boring.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, that's very profound out how you think of things and how you make everything fun, and your personality is also always reflects it, whether it's online events or whether it's offline events. The way you always articulate things, that's really amazing.
Thank you. I think there's a this one of my spiritual teachers told me, and I think at least I absorbed it this way, that there's only two things you need in your life: love and truth. And truth, you can also replace it with humor. Love and humor, the only two things you need in life. If we can develop a sense of humor for as we go through life and finding the divine comedy in all of those things, that's one thing that is needed. The second is love, which is compassion. Love for yourself, love for others, respect, integrity, all of those things. So there's two wings of the bird. There is uh, love, compassion, whatever you want to call it. And then there is truth, which is always humorous from a cosmic standpoint. So I try to cultivate that. And I think everywhere I go in my mind, like whether it's this podcast recording or this event, it's just unconscious. My mind goes, this is going to be fun. And now it's automatic. There's a subconscious reprogramming philosophy behind it. But the moment I can inform myself this is going to be fun, I start expecting it. And I start expecting it, I start seeing it. I start seeing it in the struggle. I start seeing it in the panic. I start seeing it in the tears sometimes. I say, this is, what a, like the sense of humor of the universe is hilariously painful. And so I try to teach myself that, or life tries to teach myself this over and over again. So I try to listen.
And I could recall that a small incident which happened just outside your podcast studio. You said, let's do it in a fun way. I was a little nervous, but you were like, let's do it in a fun way. And now I'm able to recall it. Every time you do things, you actually said, if you do this way, then you are expecting it to be fun. Yeah, so I just noticed that right now. When you said this, I was able to recall how you entered the podcast studio versus how I entered the podcast studio.
It's like, I think 2 years ago now, I went to Costa Rica, far, far away. And I went to take this medicine, which is called Cambo. But like they burn your skin and they put a kind of like a toxin poison of a frog from the Amazon. And it's designed to release all the toxins and release a lot of the subconscious traumas that you may have been carrying, a bunch of things. But the experience is such that the moment the medication is applied, within 10 seconds, the healer is, that guy's name is Tapu. He was applying that medicine. You have 10 seconds. And within 10 seconds after that, you feel sick to your stomach. And for the next 15, 20 minutes, you are just in excruciating pain, vomiting, your guts are, it's very, very hard, but it's good for your spiritual healing. And I sat there, right? I went halfway across the world to go and sit in that chair, and he's burning my skin. And as he's applying it, I only have 10 seconds after the application. As he's applying it on my skin, he looks at me and says, hey, don't forget to enjoy, huh? And he just went to the next person, and he goes there, and I go, what? I went through my experience. But this comment stayed with me. Like, don't forget to enjoy. What does that mean? Like, I realized I chose to sit in that chair, fly halfway across the world to get that medication applied to me. That was my choice. And oftentimes, it was a helpful reminder. I choose voluntarily to stay in that chair. So I must remember to enjoy it too. Because as we set big goals, aspirations in our life to achieve many big things, with growth comes growing pains. And as we growing through that, it's important reminder to have that if you're going through it, then hey, don't forget to enjoy it too. It's part of the process. You chose it voluntarily. So remember that and be grateful for the privilege of being experiencing this pain, and then enjoy, laugh at it, move on.
That's a very profound thing which you shared right now. I had like a bunch of memories going on in my head from last few months, what is happening, and then like I could recall that sometimes I forget to enjoy, and then how the way your person, I'm not able to recall the person Tapu who's don't forget to enjoy. I think this will be a trigger in my life always. Whenever I feel like I'm not enjoying something, I'll just remember this story which you shared just now.
I still remember it too.
You have worked with such a diverse group of high performers, from CEOs to authors to sports scientists, etc. What patterns have you noticed in people who grow sustainably versus those who burn out?
Two patterns. One is their sense of commitment, and one is the people that they surround themselves with. I'll tell you both. I think one of the biggest challenges in our generation is the inability to commit to anything long term. And transformation is a function of commitment. Fulfillment is a function of commitment. And we can see that if you want to have a fulfilling and exemplary relationship, it's a function of commitment. You got to invest years and years of practice. If you want to have unshakable health, it's a years and years and years and years of commitment. Same thing with your career. If you want to have something strong, think 10 years. Think, can I do this 10 years peacefully without looking for returns? As let's say a reasonable expectation that they have when they set a goal and aspiration. And we unfortunately we live in a culture of immediate gratification, all of us, myself included, meaning it touches everyone. And that's the fight that we have to fight every single day. I hope this conversation just allows the listeners to get their head out of the water for a second, so that because there's a resonance to it, everyone recognizes that anything meaningful that grows over a long period of time. Everything else is a lie. It's a quick fix. And right now we are having problems of quick fixes with SSRI medication for depression and anxiety, quick fixes for relationship through porn and situationships, systems for replacing relationship, quick fixes for health, lose 15 kilos in 2 months, or Ozempics, quick fixes with a bunch of things which are not recognizing that they're not sustainable, and they don't create any fulfillment. And the most successful people that I've ever had the pleasure to work with, they recognize that transformation is a function of commitment. That's number one. And their sense of commitment is so high that everything that comes along the way, the pain, the burnout, it just puts things in perspective that this is just part of the process. It's impermanent. Next step, next step, next step. The commitment is never shaken, because it's at the deepest sense. This is what Krishna tells Arjuna. You are entitled to your work, not to the fruits of your work. So work, and they look at the work that they have to do and they commit themselves to that in their relationships, in their work, in their health, or what have you. That's one. The second, the thing that ensures that they don't burn out is the people that they keep around themselves. And this is a life hack that most people, it's been said so many times, people are desensitized to this idea. I came across this study recently. That if you are at work, let's say you hire someone in your team, and if you have one A player, A player being hired, like fully committed, on point, high ownership, and B player are, just casual, just going through the motion, just care for the salary. They want more than they want to give that. If you hire one B player in your company, the overall performance of if you're working next to a B player, if B player is sitting next to you, your performance will naturally go down by 15%, just by proximity, being next to a B player. Contrary, if you're sitting next to an A player, just by proximity, your performance will go up by 30%, just by proximity. And so mediocre people at work and in life are dangerous. And mediocrity reveals itself with the sense of commitment that people carry in their life. You can see it. They will go from job to job, relationship to relationship, health routine to health routine, but the relationship status will never change. Job fulfillment remain the same. Health will never change. And the complaints will be outwards. And that's the mediocre mindset. And the highest level people that the burnout never touches them is they make sure that the people around them are so incredible and the connections are very deep, and they honor those relationships really, really well, that the things like burnout, anxiety, they may come in phases, but it's a small season than a huge blocker that stops their entire life.
My next question was around this only. So I think, is it the same way? How do you personally catch yourself when stress or ego creeps in for you?
When stress and ego creeps in, it creeps in often. And there's a few things that help me. One is the idea of don't forget to enjoy. And I'm just naturally a grateful person. This muscle has been cultivated now for 30 years in my life. So I can, and once you go through certain growth journeys in your life, you start seeing that the part of the process is painful, and it's necessary to get to the other level. And so if every single time I've gone through the part of the process and got to the end result, I think it's almost automatic for me, is that I think, where is it leading me? How might this be good? And so in that moment, I can see the beauty of the anxiety or the stress or the insecurity that I'm experiencing, because I can see it for what it is, as a necessary ally to keep me oriented towards the path that I want to go to. How that happens is through the process of mindfulness. And that is not sexy, unfortunately. Right? It takes years and years of practice without putting it on your app, without listening to guided meditation, just being with your breath. That's it. You just sit and stay. You sit, close your eyes, you sit, you pay attention to your one breath, and then your attention goes somewhere else, and then you bring yourself back. And then it again goes somewhere else, and then you bring yourself back. And you do that over and over and over again, that every time your attention goes back, you can bring yourself back. And then experientially, what starts to happen is everywhere you go just starts to look in the periphery. They start being non-attached from you, because you are in the center, because that's where you keep bringing back your focus. And the idea of doing that is not to become a great meditator. You don't keep meditating to become a great meditator, is to bring mindfulness to life. So Noah Djokovic, I think one of the most remarkable tennis players of all times, he was asked the same question. I was watching his interview, and he said, how do you manage that? He said, when I play the game, sometimes I hit an amazing shot and I'm like, yeah. Or sometimes I miss a stupid shot and I'm like, And then the only thing I have to do, the only thing that's important, is to bring myself back to the focus. One shot, yeah. And then shit. And the ability, how fast you can do this, is what makes you a great leader, or a great at anything, or at least in the path of greatness. And then he said, mindfulness of breath is the thing that helped me. And people don't make that connection. People are unable to make that connection, that, hey, you sitting with your breath, how does it translate there? It has a direct translation. If you have trained your mind over and over, whatever's happening, come back. And then the mind starts to listen to you. And then something shaky happens, and inevitably it will happen for all of us. That's what we're here for. Every single thing we love, every single person we love, we will lose. And the only way to navigate that is to learn when in micro moments loss is happening, fear is happening. How can we be not identified with it, be back to our breath, be back to the present moment? Breath is an anchor to the present moment, because always changing, always different. So when you can be with the present moment, always changing, always different, but as you are, so am I. That's what allows one person to, at least for me, in hindsight, see that, oh, I've been able to navigate the stress and anxiety really well when it has happened in my path. And it will happen many more times if I'm lucky. Right? And then that's why I keep practicing this more and more, because I know that this is the path out of it.
Mm-hmm. That reminds me of a bit of a Vipassana experience, that we need to look at the breath and keep whatever is coming, still keep, our mind will divert and then come back to the breath.
That's exactly this. I learned it from Vipassana. I did 2 years degree in Buddhist psychology, and then one of the part of the curriculum is you have to do Vipassana. You cannot get your degree without it.
That's amazing. So my next question to you is, do you think it's possible to be both deeply ambitious and deeply mindful, or do we have to redefine what success means?
I think it's possible to be both deeply ambitious and deeply mindful. This is can connect it with the lesson of Bhagavad Gita. Desire is not the problem. Selfish desire is. Like in the example of Mahatma Gandhi, the ambition was huge, but it was not selfish ambition. One might call it that. And some of the greatest leaders, they're exemplary leaders, their ambitions have been huge and massive, but their desires are big, but they're not selfish desires. Right? So one can have a desire out of the goodness of your heart, and then seeing then all the beauty that it brings. You can see that it's for the highest good, to the best of your ability that you can see. And if that is there, then ambition is no problem. I think one can have both. But I think without mindfulness, ambition goes into the spiral potential, has a potential spiral pull from selfish desire perspective. And that, I think, just doesn't lead anywhere fulfilling, even for the person who's pursuing it. But once your desire is including more people, the more people you can include in the desire, the more the universe will support it to fulfill it for you. So that's the secret.
That's very profound, actually. Yeah. So now let's talk about Soulpresso. I love the name and where did it came from.
I think Soulpresso to me is like espresso, is a concentration uh, output of great coffee beans, ideally. Soulpresso to me is giving people an experience of what happens when you take a concentrated drop of soul. What happens when you consume a concentrated drop of soul, of spirit? When that happens, I think the result of it is the selfish desires start to feel small. Desires grow, but selfish desires start to feel small. The cosmic humor starts to present itself in a way where we cannot deny it, and we are entertained by it. We are entertained by our own predicaments. And then the path is still the path. Everybody is walking different path. Every single person has a different curriculum here that we have put on this planet. Everybody is going to walk in their unique direction. I think taking the concentrated drop of soul just activates the spirit through which you can start seeing the path in a different way, and that changes the spirit from which you take the actions. Even though the actions may remain the same, the spirit from which you take those actions will start to change in your health, in your relationships, in your work. And I think that's the most meaningful gift one can give to people. And I think we are pursuing to prepare ourselves so that we can give it to as many people as possible. That's where the name comes from.
That's quite a deeper meaning to it.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on the name. Yeah.
And you describe Soulpresso as a school for entrepreneurs to master relationship and spiritual leadership. So what's the deeper philosophy behind that?
I think one of the things that is getting more and more challenging for the world today is we are relational beings, and we are going further away from it. And it's a major cause of pain and suffering for every single human being in the world if they're not conscious of it. And so the first thing is, and every single thing we do is relational. Even running a business is actually relational. We are in charge of the people that we work with. So mastering relationships is one of the deepest spiritual practices a human being can take. And spiritual leadership is another way I look at it. Is transformational leadership is the recognition that goes back to the previous point of personal ambition. Goes back beyond the idea of personal growth. There is no personal in personal growth. That the transformational leaders in the world, they recognize that when you grow, every single thing grows with you. The rising tide must lift all boats. And they recognize this principle. And people who recognize that, their commitment to their own growth is with this recognition that the more I grow, the more things around me will grow. So it's my responsibility to commit to my self-growth and self-evolution. That's the only way I can take care of the people that I love. That's the only way I can add value and be, hopefully, the light for people wherever I find myself. And so, to me, entrepreneurs and the people who are figuring things out, they are driven by a mission and a passion, and then in that pursuit, a couple of times, sometimes what happens is in that pursuit we neglect our true nature of being relational beings, and in that pursuit we can also neglect our deepest aspiration and connection to our own growth. And I think entrepreneurs are the movers and shakers of the world, and activating them has a multiplying effect in the world. And so creating more relational fulfillment for people who I believe are transformational leaders who have a multiplying effect in the world, that's the most meaningful and fun way for me to add a little bit of impact before I go.
That's amazing. And you talk about building the Disneyland of personal growth. That is such a powerful metaphor. So what does it look like for you?
For me, like we spoke about this, the learning, education, personal growth, I believe it needs to be intrinsically motivating and rewarding. Intrinsically, you should be motivated to pursue it all the time. And if it is fun, enjoyable, you never want to stop it. You would never want to stop it. And that's where the idea came from. And that's where, when you come to our events or even our online group coaching program, you will see the sense of joy, connection, humor in very profound ways, right? And it's very intentional. And the idea of Disneyland is, if you go to Disneyland, there's a moment where the moment you take the first step in the premise, you see that beautiful castle that you see in the beginning of the movies. The castle looks better than what you see on TV. And you take the first step and you feel like, I'm in a magical place. And instantly you change. You go into your child self. And all those things get activated by taking that first step. And so for me, creating a place where people can step into their joyful, childlike nature immediately with the orientation towards growth and evolution, I think that's where the statement comes from. I think it's whichever form it takes, however big it takes, it's been the most meaningful gift that has come through my service to this mission, whatever that is. So I think that's my answer.
That's amazing, actually. I also had the chance to work with you on the Personal Mastery Summit, and I remember how intentionally you put everything into the experience, whether it's starting the event or during the event or post the event. So how do you craft such meaningful experiences?
See, now I've been doing it since 17 years, like crafting gatherings of a few hundred to a few thousand people. I've been doing it for now 17 years. And in, across demographics, across cultures. One of the things that remains, a couple of things. One is, before we create the actual programming, we map out not what the content or what the session will be, what the experience will be. We do the emotional programming first, where we visualize and we actually interview our attendees, our customers, our clients, to see where they actually are, to get a real sense of what emotion will they be starting from. And particularly when you come to an event, it also adds a little bit of nervousness, anxiety, all of those things. We put all of that together. This is the starting point. And then where do we want them to leave with? That's the end point. And then we map the journey from that emotion, how first phase is to establish psychological safety. They should feel good. They should find comfort and joy in the company of the strangers that they've come through. When that happens, they become more open to shedding their guards. And when they are open to shedding their guards, that's when some deeper training comes in, which brings their emotion down momentarily, because you have to go down to come back up. And so we place them with establishing psychological safety, and then release happens. There's a joyful moment, and then we create a different thing, and then we keep on creating this roller coaster all the way until the end. And so we map this emotions, and then on top of it, we place what are the things that will serve that emotion, and we create this emotional journey with it.
But I think that is secret sauce which you use to craft the online events or even the offline events you do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've never heard this from anybody, like how they take the emotional part to it. Everybody talks about the technical stuff. Okay, this speaker needs to be put in there. This is the slot. This is the things. But the first time I've heard in my life, okay, this is how you actually do the things. Even when we're doing the events, we got to know only the other side of the part. Now we got to know how actually you think in the mind before actually you deliver anything to us or share with us. Okay, this is how the agenda is going to look like.
And there's the other thing, which is a bit smaller though, is there are, I think my eye is trained now, and I got this insight from the book Power of Moments, is there are opportunities in the experience creation that whether it's online, offline, you're hosting a gathering at home, there are opportunities that are, if you don't do anything, nothing happens. But these are moments where if you can create a small wow experience, it just shoots up the openness, the excitement, and the receptivity and the memory of that experience profoundly. So when someone comes in, that's an opportunity. You can just let them come in your hall, and they settle down, and then there's a host. They can just read. If it's a bad event, they will just read through a script. They'll be very well dressed, and they'll be reading from the teleprompter. That's that. Or you can make it a powerful moment. Doesn't require money, requires attention. How can you put a smile on their face the moment they walk in? One tiny gesture. When we open the doors, everybody waits outside. It's intentional. We open the doors, and there's our team and some of the participants that have come before. They all stand in two lines, and as people are coming in, they're high-fiving with like highest energy. Small thing makes a big, big difference. And throughout the event, there are moments where if you don't do anything, nothing happens. They're not expecting it. They're here to see the sessions. But in that moment, if you do something that wows them, holy shit, I wasn't expecting that. That the NPS score, say marketing wise or product wise, your NPS score goes through the roof. And you can, after doing, I think, few hundred events like that over 17 years, some patterns become predictable. Hey, these are moments where you can do something nice, something special. These are moments where something they have had a release, you can reinforce them with giving them something physical that they can keep, and they keep it for the rest of their lives. So, and we've done that over 17 years, and I think I've paid attention to it for the last, I learned it from Vision in 2015, 2016, so 9 years. So I've been very intentional about looking at what are the opportunities to creating wow moments for people in small ways that make a big impact. And so that's the second way where you can turn an average event into a great event regardless of the content.
This reminds me of a small thing which you actually do in the offline event I attended, which was organized by you. That there was a sugar cube thing that we had envelopes in which we can keep gratitude notes for people. And then you said, when you were saying about that, keep something which people can keep forever with them. That is something which reminded me of that small experience. And now this time when I'm attending the summit, because this podcast is happening before the summit, maybe it release after that only, but I'll be able to see some things from the like a point of view, okay, why this thing is happening now. Yeah, I'll be able to look at that point now, because I now know a bit of secrets why these things are happening.
Yeah, it's we've talked about the quote unquote secrets of all our events. They're open playbooks. Steal them, copy them. The more, the better. I'm not worried about that being stolen. What can't be stolen is the place, our essence, which is unique, that we do, and we'll keep doing it because that just comes naturally to us. And so you can't beat us in being us than anything else. And all the other practices, skills, if you don't hear it from me, you'll hear it from the smart, wise people who I've learned it from. The ideas are not mine. They got me. And so I'm happy to share those ideas with you. If it catches somebody else, they're yours. Steal it. Steal it proudly. No credit given. Say it's yours. And the sugar cubes idea, we got it from ISEC, the student organization. Everybody goes home with love letters from 20, 30, 40 strangers. They keep it with them 20 years later. I know people who've kept their sugar cubes 20 years later.
Even I keep it.
Yeah, I've kept, my oldest one is 17 years old. I still have it. And I've lived, not traveled, I have lived long periods of time in 5 different countries since I started receiving sugar cubes. Everywhere I go, they go with me. There's this big bag now. It's all packed. It's written, very important, if it ever gets lost, and my number is there. It's very special. And it's just a small gesture.
Yeah, and these small things actually go for a very long thing. Go for a very long time in your life. Whenever you feel low or something, you have something to look forward to. You can read them. You instantly feel good about these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have seen so many transformations. Is there any one story that still gives you goosebumps?
There's the very juicy ones.
I'm sure there are so many that you have to figure out which one to share right now, is it?
Yeah, I'm thinking that there's a couple, like I can tell you one of them, and we invited him over. We just offered him a ticket so that he can come back to our event. He was going through stage 4 cancer, and he wrote to me that, hey, after your summit, the things that I learned, I practiced them, and I'm cancer free, and now I'm helping other people to find strength and wisdom and take care of their health better. That's one person. He'll be there at our event, and his name is Rica. There's another person who first came by himself, and the second time he came with his father. And when the event, and this is like a very well-respected doctor, when the event finished, his father came up to me in tears, hugged me, and said, "Thank you for giving me my son back." There's another CEO, runs I think by now a 9-figure business from Delhi. And he came up and he came to our private retreats. We worked with plant medicine and stuff like that, 1 year coaching, similar program that even you went through. After 1 year, like, he told me that, hey, I wrote made them do an exercise to write their vision from their highest self. Like, if they were completely unreasonable, what is the biggest thing that they would want to achieve in the next 5-10 years? And 1 year after the program finishes, we make them read their letters. A couple of days before that, he said, I was reading my letter, the house that I described, I'm writing this message from that house right now. My relationship with my family has never been this good. And wait, I will send you a picture. And he sent me a picture. I couldn't recognize him. Like, not just me. He went through the immigration office, like immigration through Dubai. They put his passport back. They didn't accept that passport matching the picture. He had sleep apnea, a very heavy one with no real cure. His sleep apnea disappeared. He became like he became the fittest he's ever been, and one of the fittest attendees we've ever had. And we don't teach fitness at our event, like just a little bit of teachings here and there. And so when people start working on their internal stuff, whatever they've been carrying for so long, the moment it gets released, it starts showing up in different beautiful ways. And yeah, that's a beautiful question. I have, beautiful stories I've been privileged to receive.
And yeah, thanks for sharing. It actually gives a lot of hope to the people who are listening to the thing, that a lot of things, good things are possible in life. Even if you're going through the worst of the times, things are still possible. And my next question too is related to this only. If someone is listening right now who feels stuck, maybe they have done everything right, but still feel lost, what is one small step they can take today?
First is to change in the vocabulary that I've done everything right, but I feel lost. Is to recognize that there's something that you haven't done right, and that's okay. Because the moment we say, I've done everything right and I'm still lost, is the voice of the victim, not the voice of a wise being that is taking a charge and making a change. Then the second step, I think, is to commit to anything. Like, fulfillment is a function of commitment. Pick something that you can commit to right now over a long period of time. For a man, I'll tell you it's easy. If you're a young man and if you're listening to this, the thing that I would recommend you profoundly to every single man that listens to this is to commit to transforming your body. It will teach you all the lessons you need to learn to go through life well. You will learn to be disciplined. You will learn through measure your progress. You will learn to voluntarily expose yourself to stress over a long period of time. You will learn to spiritually realize that I have to expose myself voluntarily to lift heavy things. And I keep lifting the heavy things year after year after year. And the weight keeps on increasing. The stronger I get, the more heavy weight I can do. The exercises remain the same. The weight changes because you just get stronger, lifting the same weight over and over again. And that skill has transferability. Then you learn to measure your progress wherever you're going. And if you transform your body, it happens over a few years, not before. And by that time, your attachment to the goal has disappeared. You go to the gym because you go to the gym. You just are committed to a process. And once you can do that with the body, you see the result. Now it's part of your experience that you know how long-term fulfilling goal achievement can happen. You learned it at a very physiological level. It gets embedded in your DNA. And that skill has transferability. Even if you don't consciously know, the next big uncertain goal that you will set yourself, your body knows to stay to the path. Even if you don't see any results, even if you fall off the wagon, even if you gain a little bit of weight, you feel like you've taken a few steps back, you got sick, you keep on getting back, keep on getting back. Metaphorically, I'm saying these things. And that skill has transferability. And if you're listening to this as a human being, transformation is a function of commitment, and you can start today. You must start today and recognize the gift of compounding. If you are in a hurry, there's a saying, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together and you go slow. Right? So if you want to go far, it's going to be a marathon. You cannot run it at the speed of the sprint. Right? So if you have the hurry, don't feel bad. It's just the culture we live in. Catch it. I want to do it fast. Yeah, that's the voice that we have trained from the culture through the illusion of Instagram or whatever world we live in. But that's not true. Truth is, real fulfillment and achievement happens as you grow a tree. Soft, slow. You plant the seed, you take care of that process very, very well for months until it grows roots a little bit deeper. And then you still take care of it. You keep the birds away and stuff. After a while, it becomes a small tree. That's when you can relax a little bit. Things are on automation. And after a while, after a decade, it will give shade to your family, fruits to your family for 5 generations. It's unshakable. So recognize that the compounding return is real. So only invest in things that have a compounding return, and you invest with the mindset of compounding. Compounding only pays when it's committed for more than 10 years.
That's such a beautiful analogy, whether it's money or whether it's into self-help or whether it's a personal growth. I think it's relates in both the things.
Yeah, compounding. If you want to meditate, find a practice that brings you ease, and then let go of all the next new hacks that will change the game to the next level. Basic practices are always the same. Just do the fundamentals right. Bruce Lee said this, right? I'm not afraid of the man who knows how to kick 10,000 different kicks. I'm afraid of the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times. Fundamentals. You do fundamental really, 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 really well. The right directions will start to reveal themselves to you. But that only happens experientially. You need to be on step 429 to know what step 430 is. And when you're on step 1, you will not know the next 400 steps. You have to trust, orient yourself in the right direction, trust in the compounding, take one step at a time.
So let's move to the next segment of the podcast, which is the rapid fire round. So my first question to you is, one book that changed your life.
1 Minute Wisdom by Anthony DeMello.
Okay, that's nice. One belief that you have recently outgrown.
The idea of work-life balance in entrepreneurship.
I can just laugh on that.
I think it's a from the face value, it's a bit of a lie, and it's also the one that got me, because I was in the personal growth industry, and to be very, very mindful of your foundations of your life. It's important, and it must be true over a long period of time. But if any moment of time, if I don't feel my work and life is in balance, and it will create a discomfort in me, then you're not built for toughness. And entrepreneurship, particularly in the beginning years, you must be built for toughness, right? So the foundation should be good, and the stronger your foundations are, mentally, emotionally, physically, relationally, the more power you can bring into your pursuit of entrepreneurship. But it's a relentless effort with singular focus in multiple seasons early on in the journey. So if you're not comfortable with your perfect work-life balance being shaken in the beginning few years, don't start a business, don't have a baby.
Yeah, that's the reason I actually laughed. I could
Good luck with that. But eventually it comes, I trust eventually it comes.
Makes sense, yeah.
Thanks, man.
One word that defines your current season of life.
Purification.
What does it exactly mean?
It means that in the last 1.5 years, I've been sitting in the fire of purification in multiple areas of my life. And meaning there were certain things that I had accumulated around me that were not serving me, that was not in the service of highest good for me or anybody else in the equation, relationally, my business-wise, and also my own mindset-wise on how I show up in relationship, intimate relationship. There were certain things that I still needed to purify, and the last 1.5 years has offered me the opportunity to sit in the fire of purification. So when the fire lights up, there's a tendency to run away from it, or sometimes when the universe creates the conditions, you don't run away from it, or your courage is strong enough, whatever the reason. I have been sitting in the fire of purification, and that burnt a lot of the dead wood that doesn't serve me anymore. And as a result, the depth of relationship that I get to experience today is something that I didn't think it would be possible even for me, where I at least I believe that I was very committed to learning it for the last 10 years. And the last 1.5 years have been the most profound learning of it. So I'm very grateful for it. I've learned more about business in the last 1.5 years than in the last 17 years combined. So these are the two major fires of purification. And with that came a purification of social circle with like already from close friends. So the really tight close friends that were fully aligned with the core values that I share became closer. And then because they became closer, automatically the other people that were not so close, automatically they start looking further away. And so that was another fire of purification that came, and then that revealed, once that distance became apparent, that revealed all the unconscious ways that relationship was not serving anyone in the equation. So I sat with it, felt the pain of it, practiced gratitude for it. It brought a lot of beauty in my life, some relationship for 10, 15 years. And that's it. Ciao. No more. And so this was last 4.5 years. Super juicy.
Okay. A daily ritual that keeps you grounded.
Gratitude walk.
Oh, can you explain a little bit more about it?
I just go for a walk, and whatever is bothering me, I just get to a point where I see what I'm actually experiencing and where I started from, and it just turns into all the things that I'm grateful for. It just like from my body to my ability that I have physically, emotionally, professionally, what have you. And it just becomes like a waterfall of gratitude. So by the time I come back, hour and a half later, I'm just overflowing with gratitude.
That's amazing, actually. A quote that you live by.
If the only prayer you ever say is thank you, it will be enough.
Before we wrap up this podcast, I want to ask you, for somebody who is just beginning their journey of self-discovery, what is the one step they can take after watching this podcast?
Reorient their goals with 10 years horizon, not less. So if the one thing that if someone is starting today, where do I want to be 10 years ahead? And what that does, it changes the path into you must commit to the path, not the result. And so when you think 10 years ahead, you let go of the how. You're only left with the why and the next step. And that opens doors that I cannot predict for you, that one cannot predict for themselves.
And I think that's something which you talk about, end goal versus means goal.
This is the concept that comes from vision, but it's a bit different. When I'm asking where do you want this thing to be in 10 years? When you have a 10-year goal, then from 10 years, what do you think? What do I need to do today to get one step closer to a 10-year goal? So if it's a six-pack abs journey, say I want to be living my life in a way where I'm ripped six-pack abs, but it's 10 years ahead. What is the step to take today? The answer will be something process related. It will be go to the gym. Doesn't matter how much you lift, doesn't matter how you look in the mirror. Just go to the gym. Just the next day, what is the next thing that I do? Just read a book about nutrition. What's the next thing that I do? Read a little bit about willpower management. Next thing that I do, I clean up my environment. Just keep on taking one micro step at a time. Big goals, micro steps. Right? So when the future is far, far ahead, the reason why I say 10 years is because the attachment to how will I get there? What would be the exact path? Tell me the whole path and then I will take the next step. It's a natural tendency of people. So to step out of that tendency, it's a helpful question to say, just tell me 10 years later, where do you want to be? And what should you do for that today? So your anxiety of why am I not getting closer disappears. And you just do the work. Just do the work.
That's actually very profound. And what is next for Gautam now?
Next for me is building this ecosystem that we are calling Soulpresso. And the goal is to get the top 500 transformational leaders in the world into one mastermind where their pursuit of personal growth and transformation is so incredibly fun and transformational. And these 500 people will have a ripple effect of 500 million people in the world. Those are the kind of people that I'm looking forward to be in service of. So that's next for me.
Oh, that's amazing. And all the best to you for it.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Gautam, for so many beautiful insights. It was lovely listening to you. And every time I talk to you, I get more of insights. So how can people connect with you, and what is the next they can look forward to from Soulpresso?
Well, people can connect with me on Instagram with my full name, Gautam Khetrapal, or same with Soulpresso, just with that name. You can find it there. And yeah, we'll take the conversation further from there. The website links and everything, soulpresso.com. You can apply to join some of our transformational events or masterminds or coaching groups that we open at different points in time in the year. But there's always something running. So,
oh, that's amazing. So to my viewers who are watching this podcast, you can go to soulpresso.com to check out the next upcoming events and experiences. And until next time, keep growing, keep playing, and we'll see you in the next episode. So thank you, Gautam, for joining us.
Thank you, Vikas. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having such an incredible conversation with me. Also made me, some of the things that came through, I had never thought of them in this way. So it was very interesting for me. It's always a pleasure to see you. And thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, Gautam.
Thank you for watching the whole podcast. Now I want you to do 3 things. First of all, subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed to it yet. Second thing is, if you have any feedback or comments on this podcast, please put them in the comment box and also share which guests we should bring out next. And the third thing is, if you have got value out of this podcast, make sure you share it with somebody who you feel will get value out of this podcast. Thanks for watching.